I'm patient in the moment of painting. I mean, I follow my my leads, and I play them out, and then that's why I have to paint, is actually to see it, because I sort of imagine what I would like, and then I have to produce it, and I have to fix it. I have to fix it in, you know, in time and place, so that then I can live with it, and then I can understand it better. Well, I guess I think about my work as daydreams. That I don't. There's not a conscious crossover between my dreams and my work, but there's a rhyming similarity to how things follow in the course of making a painting that reminds me of how I'm familiar with the way that I dream. If you can step back from the way that you dream, it's like I tend to not talk about any association with dreaming, because it's like making claims for the unconscious, which by definition is not definable. And I throw things in actually without structured intent sometimes. Sometimes it's like a shopping list of things that come from, you know, a number of different needs that just sort of pile up in a corner of a painting. I'm really comfortable with large canvases. I find them extremely motivating, and several things that I like about them are, one, that they become, because I'm painting these interior spaces, that when they're put in a domestic situation, it's kind of like adding on a room, and they operate that way, I think, very effectively, and I love that effect. I think that when they're in a huge space, they become something else. They become a kind of token of that effect. There's one practice that I actually developed while I was an undergraduate, while I was working several part-time jobs, and I had studio space, but I couldn't be in it the whole time. And it was driving me a little crazy, and it was a notebook. And I just kept a notebook with me, and I wrote down the most inane things, because there are these moments that everyone has where you think, oh, that's a great idea. And you think, I can't possibly forget that. And then 2 steps later, gone. And what I realized is that if I began to keep track of this, if I actually recorded these thoughts, that they added up and they led in a certain direction. And I had no idea where, but they eventually led to this place that I'm in now. There may have been other tributaries that I could have followed, but that is where it started, is just paying attention to myself and paying attention to my own imagination and my own random thinking. Painting, as it's happened for me, has been sort of a path that I've followed, and that there was not a strategic direction or destination that I had intended. That I really follow what happens sort of at the end of my brush sometimes, it seems. I'm sure much to my detriment, but certainly to my, that's how I'm engaged with it, that it becomes a kind of struggle, a kind of like life or death, like, is this going to live? Is this going to die? There's so many different things you can do with the same tools. I don't think about it so formally, actually. I often take it for granted. I often just am content-driven. in some ways, like, oh, I have to put this in, or something has to go here, I don't know what it is. And I don't think about actually how I put it on, because it's like such a habit at this point to sort of lay down a contrasting ground and then paint something on top of it that just allows just a sparkle of that undercolor to come through, so that the thing actually sits in space. These are tricks, but effective. and they work, and that's interesting to me, and that becomes what I consider like a toolbox. The Jesus wallpaper paintings happened at sort of through what I call the tattoo parlors, which were a set of paintings where I was painting interiors. I decided I was going to start inventing my own wallpapers, and I started inventing these wallpapers out of exhausted symbolisms. So it was like cows and the corn, and it was like cows and corn. And then I thought, after doing sort of several cycles of these patterns and paintings, I thought, well, this could go on forever. I mean, I could just like keep recycling, imagery, but like, what would be the most essential thing? And I thought, iconography, icon. And I thought, Jesus wallpaper. When I was in school, or actually, I had a very extended education. Because I was putting myself through school, and I had a like 4,000 square foot office space in the town in Champaign, Illinois, and I had just incredible holdings of things, and I was really reticent to sell anything, and one day the whole place burned, and I lost everything, and I realized that because I was holding on to everything, I lost everything. So when I sell something, in my mind, it is allowing someone else to take care of it. I love selling work. I love the connection. I love it's not the money as much, I think, as it's this idea that somebody gets it. That there's something in there that moves somebody. Because I do this automatically. And so there's a certain acknowledgement in that I find to be encouraging.